Thanks for the money, dummies.
My poison. Why am I toxic? What the fuck?
Do what gives you pleasure and fuck everyone else.
Stop supporting these retarded, worthless betas.
Look here.
Technique exploits salt deposits left over from ancient bodies of water that were cut off from the oceans millions of years ago. These prehistoric salt lakes evaporated, and the residual salt was left on the Earth's surface. Ages of subsequent set.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, DSP here, and welcome to my best games of 2020 countdown. Sorry it took a lot longer this year to pump this out than I usually would do it, but the bottom line is there were so many games that came out in 2020 that I actually winning games play countdown, excuse me. So you may see some carryovers. There actually might have been some games in my most disappointing games countdown that you're going to see tonight in the best games countdown. Why? Because a disappointing game doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad game. Even if there's games that I didn't think were the best they obviously could be, they still might have been among some of the best games of the year, and I'm going to call those games out and give them a fair shake because I don't want them to go ignored or unnoticed or act like I'm biased in the way that
you got a corn nut. You have a clip. You're not even a guy.
Determine what I've chosen for Game of the Year. But I want to tell you why each of these games, in my mind, could very clearly be chosen for Game of the Year 2020, and then I'm going to make my choice for you live on stream. Sound good? Okay, but before we do that, shout out to 99 Hits, who subscribed to the channel. Thank you for the sub, 99 Hits. And shout out to Bugsnax numero uno, who cheered and said, fuck that, Phil. You know Bugsnax was really #1. Don't let the bullies and trolls change our minds. Hey, admittedly, as good as Bugsnax was, I do think the following two games are better. All right, just being honest. All right, works. Something might have been disappointing to me, but I still really liked it and admit that it's one of the better games of the year. Okay? Fair enough? All right, thank you, Elon on Wheels, for the cheer. Let us now begin with the countdown of the best games of 2020. We're going to start with honorable mentions. Again, these are games that, for some reason or another, did not make it to my official top 10 games of the year, and I'm going to tell you specifically why. All right? We start with honorable mention, Fall Guys. Yes, a game that maybe 2 weeks, and then eventually you're just going to start to get bored of it because they didn't really have a lot of content at first. It was maybe, 10 stages or something like that. Needless to say, they were fun, but you want more content than that. And then the game developers did kind of an interim update where they decided to release a few more updates and stages and remix the stages to make them harder, which was nice of them. And then they had a Season 2. And honestly, I'd say probably around the Season 2 was where the game didn't really shine anymore. When Season 2 released, which was essentially after July, August, September, I think it was like late September, something like that, there just wasn't much content added to it. They added it was like a Christmas kind of theme when the game came out right before Christmas, so it kind of went right in line with the holiday season. I was like, man, this is like the perfect time for this game to come out and to play it. Also, the fact it was not a full-priced game, because it shouldn't have been. It certainly didn't have as much content as the original Marvel Spider-Man. But it was a really fun romp for as long as it lasted. However, all right, 2 down, many more to go. People are loving my hairstyle. It's going crazy because I just got out of the shower, and that's perfectly fine. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the poofiness. All right, moving on. The next honorable mention, the best games of 2020, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That is right. The latest installment of Assassin's Creed takes place during Viking times, much like the last one took place during, Greek mythology, and the one before that was Egyptian. This one goes to Norse mythology, and it's an interesting and fun game. I do like the character of Ivor. I like the idea that you're a Viking in a new land. You're displaced from where you came from, or Scandinavia or whatever. You go to England. You're trying to make a foothold. You're exploring. You're getting allies. I like the idea of raids and taking over bases. It's really cool to take battering rams and knock down the front gates of big fortresses. And I definitely
This guy is fucking stupid.
make it feel like every moment that you're playing the game there's something interesting or different happening. It's not the case with this game. In this game, it just feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and it just gets repetitive and boring. I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed. I'm 70 hours in. I just want it to end. My wife is a bigger fan of Assassin's Creed than me. She's about 60 hours in. She just wants it to end. We're both the same mentality that this, you know, even if you're a huge fan, at some point, you're going to feel like, man, when does a story ever happen? You know, like, when do we get any resolution to what the hell is going on? So, it's a great game, but just because the pacing is off and because it does feel too much like... Was it 50 bits? Okay. Very good. All right, continuing on with the honorable mentions. As you can tell, this is going to be a long countdown. I've got 3 honorable mentions in. We haven't even made it to the top 10 games yet, okay? The next honorable mention for the best games of 2020 is Paper Mario and the Origami King. Now, admittedly, when I played this game, I didn't know what to expect because I never fully played a Paper Mario game before. I had only played one, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. That was a very long time ago on GameCube, okay? I really like... Shout out, Jiden and your boyfriend. Thanks for the support. Welcome to the stream. Okay. I got another tip, but I'm not sure if it's legit or not. So what I'll do is while my PayPal loads and I can verify the tip, we will do the final honorable mention game. How does that sound? That way we don't hold up the countdown too much. All right. Cringeworthy. Outside of that, I feel that the game is very fun to play. The game also is very lengthy. For those who don't know, I've already played... I believe it's around 20 to 30 hours, and I'm nowhere near the end of the game. I'm about halfway through. So it seems like if you do all the stuff in the game, it takes a long time to do it. Much like other Ubisoft games, yes, it is chock full of open world exploration. You can argue maybe the game takes too long to beat because there's so much content, just like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, okay? But I'm actually disappointed, and here's why I'm disappointed. I started playing this game like a month later. I honestly wish I had played this game instead of Cyberpunk. Because I feel if I had played this game and finished it in time to do my Game of the Year awards, I might have actually ranked this in my top 10 games of the year. But because I started it so late, I'm just about halfway through it, and I don't feel comfortable ranking this among the best games of 2020 when I haven't seen the entirety of the game. It's entirely feasible that the second half of the game gets too difficult, or too repetitive, or boring. Wait for a damn change. Thank you for the cheer, OGX Focal. I appreciate that. All right. Are you guys ready to continue on with the countdown? I hope so. Okay. Now we're going to get to the actual top 10 games of the year. Ready? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stated, you're going to see some carryover between my most disappointing games and my best games of the year. All right? My number 2. But if you just took the story out of the game, and you actually look at everything else on a fair, objective scale, all right? The gameplay that was dramatically improved from the first game, adding things like climbing and traversal, going under things with crawling, the characters that actually act like real-life humans having conversations when they're out there sneaking around and trying to protect each other, and when you kill one of them, the other one reacts very realistically and makes you kind of creeped out that you actually killed someone. It makes you feel like they're real. As you can see here, the graphics of the game... absolutely, bro. Wait a minute. Who's that? That asshole above me. He's trying to just fuck her out of here. Anyway, the graphics of the game, gorgeous, especially because this is PS4, not PS5. For the PlayStation 4, looks absolutely breathtaking, some of the graphics in this game. The level design, very well done. I really enjoyed all the different worlds. What I liked most about the game when it came to story is that you had those connections between Joel and Ellie that were present in the first game that were taken away from you for most of the plot of the second game. I also have to say, ladies and gentlemen, this game has to be given so many kudos for being the most accessible AAA game ever made in history. Alright, there is not another AAA video game on planet Earth that had the amount of accessibility options as this game. Alright, I was blown away. The colorblind options, the options for the hearing impaired. If you were blind, this game has a full-blown sonar mode that allows you to hear objects. Number 9 pick for the best game of 2020 is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Alright? I didn't love this game as much as other people. I even went as far to say during my playthrough of this game, I actually liked the original Final Fantasy VII better. Because I actually felt the original Final Fantasy VII was a more robust game, because it had more locations, more to the story, and I actually felt I liked the actual combat of Final Fantasy VII, the original, better than the more action-based combat engine that they put into the remake. They really wanted to cater to the more modern audience. They didn't want it to have older style gameplay. I guess they felt if it was turn-based, people would be turned off to it. I think it would have been fine, but it is what it is. That's just my personal take. Someone who grew up playing turn-based RPGs. But undoubtedly, take a look at this game. It's gorgeous, man. They took a lot of time to develop a complete experience. It actually feels like an unfinished game, because in reality it is. The game ends on an insane cliffhanger, where you're like, what just happened? Because the game is not what they sold it as. Again, I have to say the same things I said in my most disappointing countdown. It's not a remake. They didn't just take the plot of the first game and remake it with modern graphics and gameplay. They changed the plot. They changed so many things about it. The ending isn't even an ending. It's just, oh, cliffhanger. Hoping we make another one, guys. Hope this game does well so we make another one, because or else you get no resolution out of anything. And that's kind of lame. Like, what? Really? Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Yes. It actually ranked in my top games of the year. I'm shocked as much as you that I like this game so much, because I have not played a competitive first-person shooter at any length for like 5+ years. I think the last one that I actually liked a ton was like Battlefield 4, and before then maybe like an older Black Ops game, right? Like, it's been a
5 minutes later, 11 minutes later, 15 minutes later.
Dramatically declines. And now you'll have people, you're shooting them 100 times, they won't go down. Your bullets are completely ineffective. Grenades explode and no one takes any damage. The game becomes a joke. And then you just rage and you lose. And then after you lose 2 matches like that, the skill-based matchmaking kicks you back down to a general lobby where the connections are better again, and now you dominate again. So it's pinballing back and forth between good connection, bad connection, good connection, bad connection. And you can't consistently play this game at length without getting pissed off because the connections keep...
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Salt flavor, ugh. Shit was scaled way back. Not all the way back. I wish it was scaled all the way back. But they took out all the fucking cartoony bullshit nonsense. It really feels more like a straightforward first-person military shooter again. For the first time in a long time. Okay? I'm happy about that. I'm able to play this game at length and have fun with it, alright? And in truth, even though I do believe there's bullshit with the quick scoping and all that, and I rage at it, the campaign was good. Was it the best campaign I've ever played in a first-person shooter? No, but it was interesting. It had an ongoing mystery narrative. It had side content you could do, and it had a really cool, interesting twist ending. The game itself has many different modes. Whether you're playing standard multiplayer, whether you're playing Warzone, which is, of course, the Battle Royale mode. That's pretty much exactly the same as last year's, but it's still in there. Or if you're playing the Zombies mode, which
I wouldn't worry about that without a dick, buddy.
My number 7 best game of 2020 is... Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. I think a lot of people slept on this game. Maybe it's because people are just tired of platformers. But for someone who recently, in the past 5+ years, played all of the Crash Bandicoot games, alright? And someone who appreciates the classics, but then taking a modern spin on the classics. This game is the best of all worlds. It has the ability to just go through the game and beat it on a casual level. And if you just do that, if you're just going through the game and trying to beat it at a base level, it really doesn't even get challenging. Really, from bonus they added in, this is the first time hearing of it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, continuing on with the best games countdown, ladies and gentlemen. Number 6. I don't think anyone expected to see this on my countdown. I don't think... I'm wearing the same shirt, by the way. Oh, no, I'm not. That's my Fallout shirt. It looks similar to this one. I don't think anyone expected to see this one on my countdown. Alright? But I genuinely enjoyed this game so much that I wanted to put it in my top 10 games of the year. And then I started actually rating it against other games. I was like, wait a minute. I actually liked it more than all these other playthroughs. I did. Okay? When I started playing the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake or remaster collection, I was getting
All day, trolls just drilled me all day.
Supplemental talent to other projects that Activision works on. And that's not fair, in my opinion. They did a really good job with this collection. This is outstanding what they did, bringing these PS1 games to a modern audience. Again, someone like me who had never really played these games on PS1, I was exposed to the game so much that I basically went... Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the top 5 games of the year. Are you ready? My number 5 best game of 2020 is Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 5. Yes. This game was really well done. These guys, what are they, Blue Point Games? They took a game that looked like liquid shit on the PlayStation 3. That game, even when it was new, didn't look good. Alright, I'm being honest here. It looked rough. It played unique, and that's really where it got its big, push for being a great game. But when you PS5, just incredibly well done. Okay. Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done. We're heading into the top 4 now. We're heading into the top 4. What made the top 4? I know you guys are all speculating on what it could be. What are my top 4 games of the year? Alright? And I know you guys are going to have a tough time figuring this out. I am too. I did. When I had to do that, it's hard to go through all these games, figure out what are the best games of the year. Alright? Are you guys ready for the number 4 best game of 2020? I don't know if you are. I honestly don't know if you're ready for this one. I don't think so. I think people are gonna... Here we go. The Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. Yes! This game is my number 4 favorite game of 2020. I didn't think a single person would predict this one. But ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything about me, you know why this is so high on my list. I am a fan of horror movies. I used to watch like every horror movie I could get my hands on when I was younger. I love playing survival horror games, and we're just at a drought at this point of good ones, okay? And with 2020 being a year where there's only a couple survival horror games,
what could possibly go wrong?
Balance those relationships off of each other to get to know all the characters. And through a series of mini missions of catching Bugsnax and feeding Bugsnax and doing things, you go through this crazy mystery plot line of where is the head researcher that invited you, a reporter, to the island? Why is she missing? What the hell happened to this person? And through the course of the game, as you find all the islanders that are basically different parts of the island, their unique reasons for why they broke up and what happened to this village on the island, it just becomes more and more sinister over time. By the end of the game, there's a giant plot twist. Dogs. Why am I poisoned? Why am I toxic? What? And there's almost no assassinations left to be spoken of. This game is actually what I feel Assassin's Creed should have become. And Assassin's Creed, at some point along the line, decided they wanted to be Witcher 3. So they veered from that formula of being Assassin's Creed to become Witcher 3, and a game like Ghost of Tsushima stood up and said, well, we're just going to one-up what you guys have been doing all along and show you how it's done. The game's locations are unique and gorgeous. You've got beautiful green, lush countrysides, giant, beautiful flower fields, big vistas, awesome gorges and canyons, beautiful seasides, really decrepit places that have been burnt down by the invading Mongols that look terrible. There's a whole northern area of the game that's all snow and ice and stuff. Really unique, really well done in that regard. The story, it's outstanding. The story is, well, admittedly, as good as Bugsnax was, I do think the following 2 games are better. Alright, just being honest. Alright? So, let's talk about, in chronological order, the games that are in contention for my pick for Game of the Year. Alright? First game, in chronological order, Ghost of Tsushima. Alright? A game, story of Jin Sakai, a man who was on track to become a Japanese, a politician, warlord, whatever you want to say. War breaks out in his country when the Mongols invade. Everything gets flipped on its head. All hell breaks loose. And he's trying to live the code of the samurai. But he finds out it doesn't work. I'm just kidding. It's not The Last of Us 2. But you may be just as shocked at what I picked for number 3. It is Bugsnax. Bugsnax. Goddamn motherfucking Bugsnax is number 3 favorite game of 2020. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. But I'm serious. This is a fucking insanely good game. Alright? When we heard Bugsnax was going to be a launch title for PlayStation 5, and we saw that very first cartoony trailer. We all cringed. We said, what is this? Are you kidding me? This is supposed to be a game we're looking forward to for PS. So Ghost of Tsushima. Beautiful game. The best of all the combat engines you would want slammed into one. Essentially what you wish Assassin's Creed had become instead of becoming Witcher 3. Outstanding plot. Great side characters. Tons of content. It's everything you would want in an excellent game. Okay? An excellent open world combat action hybrid game. There you go. So then, what other game in 2020 could even stand up or compare? I just kissed Ghost of Tsushima's butt, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's another game that I feel is just as good as Ghost of Tsushima, and that game is called Yakuza 7. Yakuza 7 blew me away, because Yakuza, up to this point, has been a game franchise where you've wandered through Japan, you know, usually Tokyo, Kamurocho, Tokyo, and you're beating up thugs in the street with a combat engine. You're running around, you're mashing buttons, you're doing combos, you switch combat style, you do another combo, and you do that like, I'm not even kidding, 70% of the game. Okay? Now, Yakuza is also known for its robust story. The fact that not only does this game usually have a story that's really well written and very dramatic with twists and turns, but also having a ton of side content. You'll run into the most silly people in the streets of Kamurocho, learn their stories, try to help them out, and by doing that you learn upgrades and you get all kinds of fun stuff unlocked for your characters. Okay, but there's always this overwhelming, underlying, very serious, dramatic plot line of a Yakuza kind of a deal going on in the game. So when they announced, after 6 iterations plus Yakuza 0, so technically I guess that would be 7 iterations of Yakuza, that they were going to change the style from being running around and doing action-based combat and turn it into turn-based combat like a typical JRPG like Dragon Quest, I think a lot of people were skeptical. Me, I reserved judgment and said,
People just, I like him. I don't know what it is.